All the leaves are brown and the sky is grey, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the No Bones Podcast, where we talk all things UFC. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Rich.
We are going to mix things up just a little bit this week. We are going to start off by talking about the UFC's little tiny sister, which is World Heavyweight Boxing. We need to have a little look back and have a touch on last week's big controversial bout between Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. So we thought we'd chuck our two anything on that a little bit. But first of all, we have got to mention we are here in our new home. That's right, we've moved on from Cat's bedroom at Rich's house and we've taken up residence here at The Hop in sunny Wakefield, the home of great craft beer and hopefully great sounding fight sports podcasts. So thanks to Scott and all the team for having us. We really do appreciate that. Right, on to business. Before we get stuck into the absolute barnstormer of heavy hitters that is going to be UFC 295, let's touch on last weekend and the two men battling it out to be crowned the baddest man on the planet in Saudi Arabia. A lot of people thought Francis Ngannou was suffering a bit from delusions of grandeur if he actually gave himself a chance in the boxing ring against heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. However, after dropping Fury in the third and even sticking in a little celebratory dig while Tyson was condemned to the canvas, a hell of a lot of people thought he won and called it a robbery. Me, personally, I think robbery is a bit too far, but it was a hell of a way to announce himself on the boxing scene for Ngannou, and I think a lot of people will now take notice of him and take him very seriously as a boxer should he decide to continue in that sport. What do you reckon about that, Chris? I know you're our biggest boxing fan out of us all. What do you think happened there, mate? Bit of a surprise, wasn't it?
Well, a bit of a farcical, wasn't it, to be honest?
Yeah.
I know you said you wouldn't call it a robbery, but
They
were the first words that popped out of my mouth after I'd watched it.
I know you think slightly different. You do think you were robbed, don't you? You think Francis well and truly won that bout, don't you?
I think it was Rob knowing what we know about boxing and the sense that would he ever win on points? He could have bashed him every round and probably not won on points.
There was no way they were gonna let him win on points.
With it been, how it ended, we've been such a close fight, and Fury been on his arse in the third round.
Yeah.
Even so, going to later rounds, you just kept thinking, if it goes distance, are they gonna give him decision? And I thought
It was unlikely, wasn't it, that they're ever going to get a decision win, to save face and all that. And, I mean, after all, whole build-up and everything, where Tyson's saying it's like a table tennis player facing Rafael Nadal and stuff like that, and
he didn't say that at the end, did he?
No, he didn't say that, and that's what,
extremely quiet afterwards.
Apparently, that's what inspired Ngannou to do his little dancey thing that he had over him while they were down. Like, I don't think he took too kindly to that, and he didn't seem to be hurting him, did he? Man? He were hitting him, but
he didn't put a dent in him, did he?
No, man.
Francis has a chin. That's it. He has a chin.
No
he
kidding,
can take
mate.
a punch. He doesn't mind taking one as well.
If somebody had said to you, like prior to it, who'd be throwing elbows and who'd be trying to take who down, you'd have no way thought that'd have been
exactly
Tyson Fury.
Exactly.
Did you see Tyson Fury proper trying to get him down when he jumped him UFC fight?
And them dodgy little follow-throughs with elbows and that.
Yeah, he went over to elbow and he didn't even flinch. Francis, to be
You
fair,
knew he
but
was like, that's it. It was desperation. Like, I have nothing in me. That's it.
Of course, he's come out a little bit saying it's a bit of ring rust and that. But man, when was the last time Francis fought? You know what I mean? He fought Cyril Gane about 2 years ago.
He had a serious knee injury.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody had ring rust, it's Francis, and it's his first ever boxing bout. You know what I mean? Tyson can't be pulling them for them sort of excuses. I mean, maybe he took him lightly, maybe it wasn't a full 12-week camp. I know before he was saying it was, but he didn't look that much like he were in prime condition.
Me personally on that, he's saying he did full 12-week camp, and who's not to believe what he says on that? He looked a bit flabby, but for me, if you've got to get up for a fight, haven't you? So even if you train solid for 12 weeks, he ain't got no footage on Ngannou apart from the octagon. So he's had no footage on him boxing. Yeah. So he actually said that after that he was like an unknown entity. He didn't know what to expect from him.
That to me is a horrible excuse. You know what? If this is an excuse, then what do? You prepare for everything.
Do you think he took him lightly, Rich? Do you think Tyson Fury took Francis Ngannou too lightly and he thought he was just going to walk over him?
I thought a lot about this. So I listened to Fight Disciples and the way they came out that he hasn't trained at all, and I kind of don't believe in that. I think he did. It's just I think he trained in the way that to make sure that he looks like a little chubby man. Yeah. So he wanted to portray this image that, UFC fighter got beaten by this chubby bloke. You know what I mean? And I think he came a bit chubby for that reason.
He does like to bring that up.
I don't think he didn't train for it because he's fighting Usyk in 7 weeks.
It was supposed to be like,
Oh,
there's a lot of doubt being thrown over that now.
I don't think he will as well.
No,
but
I don't.
Let's scratch that for now. The thing is, I think he thought, I'll come in and I'll do this and that. He's gonna jump on me. He just had one plan, and this, for me, this is like from intelligent fighter, apparently very intelligent fighter, boxer. It's the dumbest thing to do. Because what Chris just said, yeah, so he doesn't know how he fights. He doesn't know anything about him. He has, nowhere to scratch surface, to look anywhere, for, his fights or, to see what's his style and what he does. So you prepare for everything and he prepared for nothing.
It's still an unknown entity though, isn't it?
It is.
He's not just any boxer, Tyson Fury. He's probably best heavyweight of his generation. So that's why, excuse me, nobody give him a chance. Nobody giving Ngannou a chance.
Oh no, they didn't know. Absolutely.
Even though his record as the hardest punch in history that's been recorded.
A lot of boxing fans probably didn't know that much about Francis Ngannou. Well, it was the UFC fans who know about Francis Ngannou, and probably we didn't even give him a chance either.
Nobody did, mate.
No.
No matter what anybody says, deep in their minds, nobody believed he'd do anything. And even in Octagon, he's a wild puncher, isn't he?
He is.
I mean, from going from that, a wild UFC MMA fighter, to fighting best heavyweight of his generation in Fury, which everyone would agree with. And boxing, how he did it were phenomenal. Really, it were unbelievable what he did. Coming from what background he's had and how wild he's in Octagon, to holding your hands up for 10 rounds against an unbelievable boxer like Fury. And a couple of times he got a bit reckless, didn't he? When he were like a couple of overhand rights when they were wild. Yeah. But apart from that,
trying old Superman punching last as well.
Yeah, somebody's on commentary. You know what? I think it might have been, I don't know if it was Carl Frampton or what. But if somebody come down from a different planet and saw it, you'd be like, well, which one's boxer?
Yeah.
You won't even, you'd be like,
and they'd have an argument.
He was the boxer in that fight, without shadow of doubt. Yeah. Fair enough. In fifth and sixth round, Fury kind of tried to come back and try to do something and try to find the answers, and that he just couldn't do it. And I thought, hold on, even if you haven't trained for this fight, even, let's just say you haven't,
definitely trained, isn't he?
Yeah, but some people say he hasn't. I'll give him benefit of a doubt. Let's say he hasn't trained. That doesn't matter. You're still world-class boxer, and the guy who debuted boxing, this was his first professional fight ever.
And people are calling it the greatest ever debut. People are calling it the greatest ever debut.
Match,
boxing debut.
I think it's pretty shocking.
So he came in. Not only he was boxing with him, he actually he won that fight. No matter whatever score was called, he won that fight.
Oh yeah, morally as well.
Everyone knows that. Everyone's seen it. He won that fight.
Yeah, I'll listen to Joe Rogan and he says, you know what? Everyone, even people in boxing, they try to protect boxing. There's a big thing in boxing against MMA, and it don't. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of shit going on, back and forths, and people's opinions. But even boxers, I think there's only Lennox Lewis that come out, or I think he was with Carl Frampton and Hardy. And he said, oh yeah, I thought Tyson won just. But apart from that, I've not had anybody else that think, well, maybe Frank Warren, but there's been a lot of boxers. My point is, there's been a lot of boxers come out and say straight up he lost that fight.
Yes, and I think what we can take from this is that Francis Ngannou has got a future as boxing. There's some fighters out there, some big fighters that people are going to want to see him face next, and hopefully them fights get made if that's where he wants to go. If he wants to go down that boxing road and earn that purse, which he keeps banging on about, why not? He's proved he's got a shot. He's proved he's got a shot against the best out there at the moment. So good luck to Francis in that. Good luck to Francis in that. But anyway, right. Let's move on from all that nonsense and talk about what we're here to talk about, which is the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and that's what we're here.
The real baddest men on the planet.
That's it. We'll get to the preview of UFC 295. It's happened again. Obviously, it's been a few weeks now. We all know the situation with John Jones, who was the original headliner for this with Stipe Miocic. Jones injured himself in training, had to pull out of the fight. Everybody got a little bit disappointed, but they've replaced it with an absolute barnstormer. Two of the most on-top heavyweights in the world at the minute, in Tom Aspinall and in Sergei Pavlovich. It's going to be a great fight, but we're going to kick off with the main event, which is Yuri Prochazka and Alex Pereira, which is also an absolute barnstormer of a fight. These two guys, these two guys are badass motherfuckers all the way. Yuri Prochazka, he is unconventional, his style is mental, nobody knows where his shots are coming from, they don't know where his kicks are coming from, keeps his arms down. He's only had, 3 fights in UFC, already been light heavyweight champion, spinning elbow knockouts, he's got the lot. But if you're fighting with your arms down like that against Alex Pereira, who's got an hand of fucking stone, and you get caught by that, who's probably the biggest puncher in UFC, who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. Nobody knows. And it's going to be an interesting watch, boys, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah. I mean, for me, out of all fights coming up over the next few months, including the first one you've just mentioned, this is most anticipated one in sense of, I mean, try and pick a winner out of those two. Jesus.
I mean, Yuri's been out for a while. Proachka's been out for a while. He had to relinquish that belt, obviously, because of the injury he got.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's ready. Hopefully he's back on top. But if you look into the history of him, he rejected several contracts from UFC to wait while he was ready to get into this organisation in first place because he wanted to take it by storm. So you don't think he's going to come back early. He must be ready. He must be back on top. And
you know what? Me and Chris saw him from very, very beginning. You remember? I can't remember. I think you saw him from very first fight, from his debut, but I saw him from his second fight. And my God, the way he's unorthodox, and the way he comes in, hands down, he's so confident with his abilities to avoid punches and then take punches, and and don't forget, he's in the weight division where punches are dangerous.
He's got a granite fucking chin, man, but he needs to because he gets hit.
Yeah, like you said, the way he comes out with these punches from any angle, and he's just so. And you know what? On top of all of that, what surprised me, he's good on ground. He actually submitted people. I mean,
he submitted Glover Teixeira, which is.
You can do that too. So at first I thought he's one-sided, and when I saw him first fighting, and I said to Chris, I said, wow, what a fucking guy. But I said, the problem with him is, which everyone probably could see immediately, I said, his hands are down all the time.
Yeah.
I said, somebody will catch him. But he's so fucking confident that nobody will catch him.
And his chin's strong, man.
Yeah, right, yeah. And you know what? It's so long, so far, it's been working out for him, wasn't it? And he's just...
Well, he's on a 13-fight win streak, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
and then I thought he's like kind of one-sided fighter until I saw that him choking the guy out. I can't remember who he choked.
Glover Teixeira to win title.
He choked him out.
That's something we should definitely touch on that because...
He's no easy victory, is he, Teixeira?
Well, on top of that, who's his main...
Pereira, yeah. Pereira trains. He's his training partner, isn't he? Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
He's his mentor. He trains out of his gym.
Yeah.
They're very close. So there's definitely a bit of history with them. They're all going to be cage side as well, obviously, them two are. But,
he joined UFC and he's took it by storm as Yuri Proachka. I mean, that Reyes fight was incredibly...
You can't not love him, can you?
No, you
all
can't.
Action.
He's entertaining as a motherfucker, and you know what I mean? They say he's throwing punches from bottom, throwing it from top. His kicks are coming from everywhere. And that Reyes fight that he had, the Reyes fight that he had, sorry, pronouncing it right, the Reyes fight that he had was unbelievable, man. He was getting hit with big shots and just taking them. And then obviously we all know that he took him out with spinning back elbow in the end, which was always awesome to see when you see a big spinning back elbow like that.
He likes to be always in pocket, doesn't he? He likes to be in pocket, and he likes to brawl like a proper scrap. That's what he likes. If he doesn't get that, I think he's disappointed.
He's an all-round martial artist, isn't he?
He does.
He takes it very seriously. You know, if you've looked him up and looked into him, his style of fighting, he proper takes. They're both. You know what? They're both like that. Children.
Well, he is. That's what I'm gonna say.
They're both through and through martial artists.
Yeah.
With the training, with the practices, and.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. I mean, Yuri's. We blowing smoke up his butt a minute, but Alex Pereira is also a bad man.
Can I say that? I think Pereira is a little bit underestimated for whatever reason. I don't know whether because he doesn't talk much or what it is, but he's underestimated. People they know everyone knows he's good, but then everyone almost hopes he loses.
Well, he come in and he wiped the floor with Sean Strickland, and he was an out middleweight champion. He made easy work of Sean Strickland, and then obviously he then knocked out Izzy Adesanya against all odds at first when Izzy were dominating that fight. 3 times eventually.
They're legendary, them fights with Izzy, aren't they? They're legendary fights.
Absolutely.
I watched their boxing fights. Do you know what? Wow.
They are. Obviously, first one, Izzy were dominating, but we gassed a little bit, and Pereira took him out. And then second one, Izzy got his revenge, and I think we're all a bit happy for him. We won at greatest celebrations, which were absolutely awesome.
Best celebration probably of all time in UFC.
It were great. I loved the
fucking. He kept doing it, didn't he?
It were great. It were great, and for Izzy to take his revenge after losing to him so many times, it passed first in kickboxing and then in UFC, and that were a great watch. So maybe that's put a dent on him. That's why, like you say, rich people underestimate him a little bit. But then he
Why?
stepped
Because
up
he lost one fight. It doesn't make
No,
fucking
I
sense.
think
to me.
against an absolute great,
Yeah.
But
I
he
think
lost.
underestimation comes from his skill set because he's a kick. I think he's a two-way world champion kickboxer.
Yeah.
And you can tell out of his style, can't you? But if you watched him against Jan Blachowicz,
That's it. He
in
then
his last
stepped up.
fight,
Yeah.
did it go 5 rounds? That
Yep.
did it?
One on split
You
decision.
want
Yeah.
to split? Would it go 5 rounder? Yeah.
Yeah,
All
5
right.
round. Yeah.
So first of all, nobody expected him to go 5 rounds with Jan Blachowicz.
No.
Who's a big, strong bastard.
In his first,
Polish power and all that.
It were always a big middleweight, but it was his first step up into
Oh
light
yeah, it
heavyweight.
was a
so
proper challenge.
It's
We
a
were
different
looking
kind of
forward to
test,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah, it was a brilliant, great matchup.
Jan Blachowicz who beat Izzy Adesanya, remember?
Yeah, so there's a bit of a thing going on here, isn't there? But yeah, I mean, what I was impressed with that is straight away. I can remember with the Blachowicz fight, we're thinking Blachowicz he's not going to want to stand with him, is he? And straight away they tried taking him down
Immediately.
and he couldn't take him down, could he?
No, his defence.
start with,
That's
yeah.
where this training with
So,
Teixeira's coming, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Teixeira's more of a ground guy as well. Good boxing, but he's good on ground. So point being, I going back to what you said, Rich, about him being underestimated. I think he's underestimated because he's not great on ground, is he? But with
But
these,
you know what? If you have good ground defense,
what you need
don't
is
even, it's okay. Kind of, if you have really good ground defense,
well,
you don't let anybody take you down, or if they are, you're good at standing back up. It's kind of almost okay. You can get away with it.
two people that spring to mind, like we've just been saying there, is Izzy, brilliant takedown defense because nobody wants to stand with him because he's a killer on feet.
Yeah.
And go back to like somebody like Chuck Liddell, brilliant on feet, hardly ever on ground.
Yeah.
Brilliant takedown defense, and that were their formula to win. Same, like moving on a bit. I'm not moving on, but Pavlovich, it's same. He's never on ground.
Yeah.
He's got good takedown defense. He's not
Yeah.
interested. He don't want to. roll
He'll be
around
there
on
if he
ground.
has to, but he just doesn't want to be.
So yeah,
He prefers to stand and bank, doesn't he?
yeah, it's an incredible matchup. That.
Yeah. First.
What were you saying earlier, Matty, about what that'd do for him as well? So one's had 3 fights, and he couldn't end up being a 2-time. Is that what you said? Yeah.
And Yuri Prochazka, he's had 3 fights in UFC. He's already been light heavyweight champion. Had to relinquish because of injury. If he wins this one, it's got vacant light heavyweight title. Of course, as we all know, he might be a 2-time light heavyweight champion after 4 bouts in UFC, which is absolutely bizarre.
But he is.
Yeah.
Do you know if his overall
sorry.
record is 29, 3 and 1? So 29 wins, 3 losses, and 1
No contest.
no contest, or I don't know what happened, disqualification. I'm not sure actually what happened, but
He goes, but not far behind him is his opponent in Alex Pereira, who's only had a few fights himself. He's already been middleweight champion, and then he could be on verge of being a 2-weight champion in what, 6 bouts is it altogether? A 2-weight champion in
so
6 bouts.
one can be a 2-time light heavyweight champion in space of half a dozen fights, and other guy in space of 4 fights
can be 2
can be a 2-time light heavyweight champion.
Bizarre, isn't it? It's bizarre. They are 2 bad ass
2-weight world
fighters.
champion and a 2-time.
Do you know with Pereira you can see it as well? You're not doubting that at all, aren't you?
It's one of the most evil looking guys in fucking world, mate. I've been back to it before, but I always remember when he were in press conference when he were fighting Sean Strickland. It was Strickland's first live press conference. He pumped up and he says, he's like, listen man, you ain't gonna want to see this motherfucker down the dark alley. It's like, it was funny as fuck, mate.
It was brilliant, that.
You were funny because you were dead on money. You're like, yep, that's right.
Tell you
Yep,
what I
that's
like most about that is when cameras pulled round to him and he's like that.
He's just absolute stone
Like a
face.
stone cold.
It's not even his face, like features. It's his eyes as well. Like you just said,
all of him.
stone cold. He just sits there, no smiles, goes bang straight dead into your eyes. Like,
Yeah, man, I think he knocked me out just with his eyes, I think, man. You know what I mean? Just on there.
He's like that type as well. He's into like bow and arrow. He's indigenous, isn't he?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a part of tribe, isn't he?
Yeah,
Or he's
yeah.
part of a native tribe in Brazil.
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
I would love him to be more vocal, and I think it'd do a boil to him.
I think he's good. He'll become a bit more vocal. He'll never be like Strickland, but
I think somebody will push him. Like
His English
from,
is getting better.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's coming on in the last ones. Since he's been in UFC's.
Somebody
Obviously, he's not
from
been here that
PR
long.
must
It's
tell him.
coming up.
You gotta talk a bit more, mate. And I think you might start doing that.
Yeah, maybe
I
he
hope
will.
he is.
Maybe he
You
won't.
don't need PR if he keeps flatlining people.
That's it. I am just going to backpedal one little bit and just point out that fight previously that I said went 5 rounds. It was a 3-round fight. That went
went
with
yeah,
Jan Blachowicz
yeah.
and Alex Pereira. It were only 3 rounds, not 5 rounds. So that's on my bad. But anyway, we'll move on from that, and we will move on to the replacement for John Jones and Stipe Miocic, which is An absolute barnstormer. It's our boy.
Wow.
It's our man. It's our contender in Tom Aspinall, fighting out of Manchester, UK. He is an all-round absolute genius at fight the game, but he's fighting an absolute giant, absolute unit, an absolute man who just piles through people in seconds in Sergei Pavlovich, who's number 2 rank at the moment. He went back up for the John Jones and Miocic fight, so maybe he's in a bit better shape. Hopefully Tom will keep himself in shape to accept this fight. People have been trying to avoid Pavlovich. Tom's come out, he says he got this phone call at 4 a.m. from Dana White, says, do you want to take this fight? Cover up for John Jones pulling out injured. He took it immediately. Hats off to Tom Aspinall for that. Absolutely brilliant. I'm going to pass it over now to his biggest fan in Chris, who can take it away on this fight, which is equally, if not more so than the main event anticipated, and it's going to be an absolute barnstormer, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
before you go, do you have a man crush on him? Like, honestly.
I think he does a little bit.
I had his hoodie on earlier on, but it was a bit short for me. I put my arms up, you can see my belly button.
He fucking sends you text Aspinall. I'm like, fuck me, mate, what's going on here?
Yeah,
He
Tom,
does a little bit, but mine's on Charlotte O'Malley, so I can't fucking say anything.
what, we've got GSP here. GSP retired. GSP in a care home.
I'm saying nothing, mate.
That's it. But yes, anyway,
I'm
back to
taking the
fucking
fifth.
business point. What do we reckon? How is this going to go, Chris? What do you think? I mean, nobody knows how it's going to
Not
go.
sure.
These fights don't even get out of first round. Any of them never get out of
you
first
think-
round. It's scheduled for 5. It's not going to go that, is it?
Do you think we should cover the guys that have just missed out first?
Yeah, I
or
think we should.
just touch on it a little
I
bit.
really
Oh,
want to
John and
touch on that.
Stipe.
Yeah, 'cause it's.
Do you think?
I think
what do you think about
I'll
Stipe?
tell you what I would say. Sorry, Rich. It's
Yeah,
a
go on.
fucking mess. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's with their age and where they are in the career and when they're going to get that fight on, and is the belt going to become available? Are they going to leave John Jones as champion for the next 8 months that it might take him? It is a bit of a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, because, I mean,
But it's not 8 months, is it? It's 8 months just to recover. Don't forget he's 36. So between
Stipe's
26 and
42, isn't it?
36, at least it's a month difference just to take recovery.
Stipe's 41, 42.
Yeah.
So he can't,
So it'll be a year. It'll be a year or 10, 11 months. I bet you any money. It'll be 10, 11 months.
And should John Jones keep that belt, Chris? What do you think? Should he keep it, or do you think he should be took off him? And
I think that this
No,
this
John
fight
Jones, I don't
should
think
be
he will give it that belt to anybody.
This should be for undisputed.
yeah, well, it's for interim, isn't
Aspinall
it?
should be for undisputed heavyweight championship.
But what do you think about Stipe not fighting and Aspinall replacing him? What do you really think about that?
Well, I know Stipe didn't even get a phone call. They didn't even ask him.
I think I know why.
Well,
I thought about it
I'll
for
tell
a
you
week.
why. Because Dana, have you heard what Dana White said about
No.
it? Dana White said it's disrespectful. I'm not going to ask him to fight for interim heavyweight title. I kind of get the point.
Okay,
What I don't get, so
okay. I
they
didn't
don't
see
want to
that
strip.
coming.
They don't want to strip John Jones of it. And when John Jones got injured, Stipe had been informed, but they didn't even ask him, "Do you want to fight one of these two?" He's actually come out and said, "I'm a bit pissed off. I wish they'd have asked me." But from Dana White's side, he thought it was disrespectful to ask best heavyweight of all time to fight for interim title.
I can't agree with him
So
on that.
there's certain aspects of it that you kind of agree with. What I don't agree with is winner of Pavlovich and Aspinall. What they're going to do? Wait a year to fight when he don't weigh up. So,
That's
for
it.
argument's sake, he's not going to win Pavlovich. For argument's sake, Pavlovich wins. He's fucking not.
I think he might.
Argument's
I
sake,
think
he
he
wins.
might.
I think it's 50-50.
Wait,
Generally
so
think
argument's
it's
sake, he
50-50.
wins. He's not. You tell him. So if he fights in 6 months' time, but John Jones is still out and Stipe is still waiting for him, what they're going to do with next fight? A matchup? Are they going to put him against, for argument's sake, Cyril Gane for interim title again? Or would it's messy.
It makes no sense for
Don't
Pavlovich
need
or
tying up,
Aspinall,
yeah.
whoever
So
wins
for
that,
me,
to take on Cyril Gane.
Dana White should have
I have an answer
took
to that,
his
Chris.
privilege out of his pocket or his ass or whatever and
Yeah.
said, "Look, it's going to be 8 months a year. This is for the main title at heavyweight."
I think Dana's just petrified of John Jones and he don't want to rub him up
Yeah.
wrong way in case he
What
just...
do you think though?
I agree, mate. I think it is mad. It is mad. Like I say, if whoever wins that fight and the interim champion, waiting a year is a long time for him to wait. What is the point in them taking another fight against a lesser opponent in bracket, risking them being in position to be next man in line for the actual title? If say Tom wins, and then they'll try and line up a fight with Cyril Gane. I think he beats Cyril Gane, but who knows? It's heavyweight. It's an heavyweight division. Anything can happen. Why would Tom want to take that Cyril Gane fight which is not going to be for the real heavyweight championship.
Undisputed heavyweight title. Yeah.
What is the point in taking that fight? And so, is he going to wait a year for John Jones? It's crazy. I think he's been injured, and I think unfortunately he needs to take belt off him.
We would. This is like factual. These at best two heavyweights in the world at the minute, aren't they? Pavlovich and
I think so.
Aspinall.
Yeah.
John Jones has fought once at heavyweight and he's out for a year. He's fought once at heavyweight.
Yeah.
Stipe's fought, I think, once in 3 years. So it's kind of worked out like it did the other week. It's turned out to be almost a better fight. It's more intriguing. I think all MMA fans.
It is for me.
What would have happened with John Jones and Stipe?
John's
more than likely, Jones would have beat him. More than likely. 90% would say he'd probably win.
I'm on your
Who's going to
side.
win this?
No idea.
They're both in the prime.
I generally think it's 50-50.
The records are very
Anyone's
similar.
guess.
Yeah, so let's go into this.
Let's
Yeah,
get
hold
into
on. I have a theory about this. Yeah, I thought about this. I swear to you, I thought about this solid week. So I think this is what happened. I do agree with Stipe getting pissed off, not even having a phone call. Even though I understand Dana, what he said about, that this is the reason why he didn't even give him a phone call. But I still think he should have rang him at least to say, Stipe, I'm not going to even fucking ask you for that. I thought I'll give you a call. That this is what's happening, because I don't think you should fight somebody at that level when you're best fucking heavyweight in history, right? Longest running heavyweight as well. But from Stipe's point of view, what he's mentioned, Chris, I think is correct as well. And I think Stipe thought the only reason he come back is because of John Jones, because in Stipe's mind, he was already retired anyway, because he's 41. So, but he thought, hold on, there is this fucking kid that's coming from light heavyweight. Best of all time in there. He wants to do this in here. Well, I'm the best fucking of all time, so I'm gonna fucking fight him. I'll come back, and plus, I'm gonna be set for life 100%.
Yeah, it'd be an excellent check to have on his
it's like
resume,
literally
wouldn't it?
shooting two rabbits with one bullet.
It's a last hurrah, isn't it? For
Yeah,
both of them.
yeah,
That leads what's happening as well now, and how it's all turned out and gone about. It leads you more into thinking that's both of their last fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing it for a payday. It's best of all time to do, greatest of all time, GOAT against best heavyweight of all time.
Yeah. And don't forget,
It like solidifies both the careers, doesn't it?
apart from McGregor, these
both
two,
getting
they're
paid.
both biggest cash cows, aren't they?
Yeah,
And
they're
he's like,
definitely
hold on.
that.
So Dana White won't let that interfere. He'll look after them as much as he can. I think that's.
Yeah, to be fair,
I'm not saying he's
that
gone
was
about
my
it right way,
instinct.
but-
That was my instinct when I found out that it were Tom and Pavlovich that were taking over. My instinct was I thought maybe Miocic, the only fight he wants is John Jones.
I
Because
genuinely think that's what it is. I
if he's
really
not
do
interested
believe
in
that.
anybody else, it's like John Jones, then I'm going to retire. If I can take him out, it's a sign off with an absolute legendary victory. That's the only fight I'm interested in, and that's why maybe he didn't
Okay,
get
on
asked.
other podcasts, sorry, Rich.
Yeah.
Sorry, Max, to interrupt both of you. But on other podcasts, what we said, we're at the GOAT list, and we said Stipe and a few others call me underneath it. And we actually said, didn't we? Or I think I brought it up. So if Stipe beats John Jones, well, who's greatest of all time then? If Stipe's best heavyweight of all time and he's just beat greatest of all time in John Jones, even though he's stepping up weight, is that Stipe
I have an answer
goes
to
from
that.
like, for me,
I have an answer
from
to
being
that.
5th or 6th in list to probably number 1.
So for him, no.
So it does solidify his career.
You know why?
He done half.
You can see why
He
wants
never
that
dropped
fight.
down weight then.
He's
I
got
know,
nothing
I
to
know we
lose.
say that you
That's
should
more
be
of a
you should be
pound
go
for
up the
pound
weight.
thing though, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But if
Well,
you
it does,
like
because what about
DC
Khabib?
went down, didn't he?
Khabib never did that. He's in finger.
Yeah, but I don't think Khabib is greatest of all
Khabib's
time. I said
29
that
and
before.
0. Yeah, but he's well in conversation.
He's
top
well in
5, isn't he?
conversation. I just don't think he is because he never solidified that. I'm not saying he couldn't, but he never did.
Anderson Silva.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
we're getting off topic.
Yeah,
anyway.
that's different. That's different.
Let's bang on to Pavlovich versus Aspinall.
Okay,
What we think
yeah,
is going to
go on.
happen in this actual fight, because we're going on a little tangent.
Sorry, we're getting carried away with that.
We are. It happens. It happens.
fucking help it, can
It happens. You know what I mean?
I'm blaming you for that, Rich.
We're
No,
fans of this
that's
sport.
okay,
We're
yeah.
fans of this sport. We're having a
We're
drink.
not the worst ones. You
We'll
want to
start
know
going
who
off
are
track.
the worst ones of that? Listen
You're
to Fight
still
Disciples.
interrupting
They're
him now.
fucking worse. Am I? Okay, go on, mate.
Let's not be slagging off other podcasts, mate. We don't have to do that.
Yeah, no, we are massive fans of Fight Disciples. Let's get that out there.
Yeah,
They
what's,
do a great job.
So, Pavlovich versus Aspinall, what do we think is going to happen in this fight? Because it ain't going 5 rounds. I don't care what anybody says. It's scheduled for 5, but it's not going 5. Absolutely no chance. Chris, where do we stand on it? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, both the records are very similar, aren't they?
Very similar,
They're
yeah.
very similar within I think the least octagon time in UFC at the moment, least fight time, is Tom Aspinall.
He gets it done.
Yeah, but the second most or least fight time in octagon is Pavlovich. So they're both absolute killers, aren't they?
Yeah. They are. They do not mess about. Once they get into the octagon, both of them go in, get taking care of business, and get out of there.
I don't think there's many people that think it's going out at first round. You know what? Could it go to second? Who knows? But these two for sure, the fight, the finishers, aren't they?
Do we think that's got to be Tom's tactic, though? Do we think he's got to withstand that whirlwind that Pavlovich brings and then maybe take it into a second round and then bring his much better all-round game to the floor when hopefully Pavlovich, from our point of view, has gassed himself a little bit with that first onslaught that he always does and usually gets it done with that first onslaught? If Tom withholds that away and then brings his all-round game, do you think that's the way for him to go?
I think Tom's. Yeah, I do actually. I think Tom will win. I just think he's got to stay away from his. Pavlovich has got one of the longest reaches in UFC as well. So he's not only a wrecking machine on feet.
It's hard to get close.
It's hard to get close to him. He's not far off John Jones type reach. He's got a massive reach. He's good at using it. He's a brilliant boxer. When he was younger, I think up until the age of about 17, what I heard, he were into wrestling. But nobody's seen any of it in any of his fights, so he just relies on stand-up. I think with Tom Aspinall, I think he'll win. I think he's a modern-day mixed martial arts heavyweight.
He's got it all, hasn't he?
He's 6'4", 6'5". He's fast. He's light on his feet. He's got the power. He's elusive. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
It's shocking how he can move in and out, isn't he?
I think he'll have his number.
I hope so, and I kind of agree with you. The one thing that's niggling me, I'm a Pavlovich fan, but he's an absolutely steam train. The thing that's niggling me is short notice.
Yeah.
Short notice. Is Tom ready? Had they both had a full training camp and prepared for it, right? I'd be leaning towards Tom more, but I'm a little bit worried for him.
You know what? I'm worried for him. Even a video I listened to him the other day, he said that, well, you can see it for a fact, Pavlovich is most dangerous man in UFC.
He is.
For pure brute force, knockout, boxing, power.
He's an absolute
He just
Good skill. It's
everybody.
not like he's just throwing haymakers. He's a good skill of boxing, isn't it?
Yeah, very good.
It's like uppercuts, overhead, bam, side fucking hook. He's like, he just goes all straight. You know, his jab. Have you seen his jab as well? Fucking hell!
It's just the way he goes, mate. For such a big guy, to quote the great Muhammad Ali, for such a big guy, it's just like he hits people that fast. They think they're surrounded, man. It just comes from everywhere. It's bam, 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 bam.
You have to give him that. He's incredibly good at going 1, 2, 3 back, 1, 2, 3 back. He's fucking unbelievable.
He's more in and out in the aspect. He's more of a martial artist rather than a boxer.
It's certainly got a better all-round game, hasn't it? Yeah.
But you're looking at rank number 2 heavyweight in the world against rank number 4, and I'll tell you, rank number 1 is that Cyril Gane. He's turned down fights, that's for sure.
Yeah. They're both better than Cyril Gane, I think.
I don't know why he's ranked as number 1. He's not number 1.
It's just from what they've done. It didn't build up on it.
Yeah. I'm gonna sound like we all have a same gramophone as well. I agree with what Chris said about the 5 rounds thing, and I would like to see both of them actually do 5-round fight because they're both really big guys. They're both fast and explosive. And third round is like decisive round, isn't it? Really, you kind of can see that one of them will gas out. At least one of them will start gassing out.
I mean, it would be interesting if you went 5 rounds, but I'd be extremely surprised.
Can you actually think off the top of your head how often or when last time you saw a heavyweight fight go 5 rounds?
Yeah.
It's unlikely. Not with these two. Like I said, these two they're not far off tied for least time in octagon, meaning the finish fights sharpish.
You think out of all that have combined, out of all the fights in UFC, I think only one bout, which was one of Tom's, that has got into the second round. Every other fight out of both of them have all been finished in round 1.
Yeah. What's Pavlovich? Is it 29-1? No, what was Pavlovich's record?
His whole MMA record.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you've got it there, mate, haven't you?
18-1.
He's lost 1, and that is basically Pavlovich. He lost his first fight in UFC, I think it was like 2017.
Oh yeah, the debut, wasn't it?
Alistair Overeem.
He actually took him down. He grappled with him a bit on ground, took him down and ground and pounded him. That was his first fight. Since then, he's flattened everybody. his next 7 fights on trot, he's flattened them. And you know what? I'd say Pavlovich has fought better opponents.
Overall than
If
Tom.
Say that again.
you
Please repeat that.
If you
Sorry.
look through his resume, I think he's been in with slightly better opponents.
Yeah.
Then Overeem.
No,
than
Pavlovich
Tom
than
Aspinall.
Oh, right.
He lost to
Okay.
Overeem, fair enough. That was his first fight in UFC. From then onwards, he's more or less demolished him in first round.
Yeah, his last 3, it's been what? Spivak, Taito Ivasa and Curtis Blades.
Yeah.
Which his last 3. There's three
And
big
I
big
think
wins
that them
there.
3, if you look at Tom's last 3,
What was that? Marcin Tabora,
yeah.
Volkov, and Curtis Blades himself as well, is it?
Yeah, and listen to his records.
See, you were very impressive against Volkov, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Listen to
Extremely impressive.
Pavlovich's record as well, Sergei. So 15 KOs, 15 first round finishes, 5 winning fight streaks. As well.
And they're both
He's
serial
a fucking
performance at
baller.
night winners. Both of them,
Yeah,
they pretty much take it
It's
all
a very
the
good
time.
point. That I think they've had 7 fights each,
Yeah.
and I think 5 out of 7 for both of them, they've had performance at night.
Yeah,
But I just think looking at that, all 5 from Pavlovich have been not flat lines. You know,
yeah. I mean, it's
with
exciting.
Aspinall, it's a bit more varied, isn't it? There's a couple of submissions in there against
That's it.
Arlovsky, against Volkov.
I like
And
to see that when you see the fight, he's like, he can do that, and he's like, another fight, he's like, jumps, and I can do that too.
That's it. He has got a better all-round game, as undeniable. But it is going to be an explosive fight. It is going to be an incredible fight. I, for one, cannot wait for it.
No,
I think it's better. These two guys agree with me. We think it's better than the John Jones and Stipe Miocic fight. I know it could be a legacy fight and all that from these two great guys, but from these two up-and-coming guys, I think it's an even better bout myself. And we can't wait for it.
100%
It's coming up this
agree.
weekend. It's going to be brilliant. So, right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a little break at the moment, and we'll get back on with the rest of the fight card and a bit of news and a bit of predictions and things like that. So give us 5 minutes. We shall be back. Right, so next up, we are going to talk about fight number 3 on this card. We're going to talk about Jessica Andrade, who is number 5 in the strawweight, against Mackenzie Dern, who is number 7 in the strawweight. This is going to be a good fight. Jessica, she's lost the last 3, but she is a very active fighter. This is her 5th fight in 2023. She is active. She has lost the last 3, as I say, but they have been against top shelf opponents. So has she got a ceiling? Who knows? Mackenzie Dern, she's coming in. She's going to put her thing across. She's won 2 of her last 4, all of them going distance. She's got some lungs about her. She won the last fight against Andrea Hill, coming out of Phoenix, Arizona. So Rich has got a bit on this. So, Rich, what are we saying about this fight?
Right, so I wasn't so enthusiastic at first about covering them because I actually didn't know nothing about them until I started researching, and then I realized these girls are for real.
Yeah, man. All of them are. The female side at UFC
It's blowing up.
It's blowing up, and there's some top fighters in there, you know.
But so the Jessica Andrade, she's 24-12, so 24 wins, 12 losses, which sounds like a lot of losses, but it also sounds like what Chris said. Or you said, a lot of experience. Like
It is,
a hell of an experience is that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
And so I watched a lot of her fights. So she's honestly, she's very, very strong, and I mean, like, to wrestle you around, like throw you around the ring. She's like generally a strong woman.
Well, she's built. You can see that in her anywhere. And you see
she's a good striker. Okay on the ground, at least from what I've seen. She's not amazing, but she's not bad as well. I think she had some submission fights. I can't remember whether she submitted anybody or not, but she's very good. But I honestly, before I forget, I did wanted to bring that up. She has won in past against Namajunas, right? And she literally smashed her into the fucking canvas, right? She lifted her, picked her up, and then dropped her on the head.
Yeah, but she
knocked her out by doing
It's
that.
not to be sniffed at beating Rose
No.
Namajunas, so we know how good
But,
she is.
Yeah, on the rematch,
So
Namajunas
Pat
come
Barry
back.
always beats her up.
Oosh.
Yeah, but Namajunas come back, and she did one on the rematch, right?
Yeah.
But then on Mackenzie's side, so she's 13-3, which is a good record, really. 3 losses. What's that?
Yeah.
So 7 wins by submission and 6 first round finishes. So this is a good record, really. But she has no KOs. When the Jessica Andrade, she has 9 KOs.
Yeah,
9.
Mackenzie Dern seems to be...
And 11 first round finishes. Like I said, although it does sound like she had 12 losses, but her record, honestly, is she's really good. Her record is unbelievable. It's just she fought so many times. When you fight so many times, you will have losses. It's like, what did you say? She fifth time in this year. Did you just say that?
That was Andrade,
Yeah, that's fucking unbelievable to me.
This is a 5th fight in 2023.
Yeah,
It's very active. It's a lot of...
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Rich, I will butt in with a little bit of something here. If
go
you
on.
look back over a record, I'll just reel a few names off that she's fought. She lost to Joanna Jędrzejczyk by unanimous decision. So she went...
Absolute legendary fight.
Yeah, one of the greatest female fighters of all time. She beat Rose Namajunas. She lost to Zhang Wei Li,
Right.
which is unbelievable. She's been in there with best girls. Let's put it that way.
So what you're trying to say, the losses, although they are the losses, is against the best.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's
if you look,
it,
she's lost to Rose. She lost to Jay Lee. She lost to Joanna. Them three, they're
Erin Blanchfield as well.
yeah.
like.
I mean, they're. I missed one out, by the way. Valentina Shevchenko.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So out of those losses,
that's okay. It's kind of okay. You can pass that.
the last three, Erin Blanchfield, don't get me wrong, but the other two, I don't know too much about. But 4 of the other so many losses she's had have been against up there with, greatest women fighters of all time.
Yeah, but it's important to mention that Namajunas come back and on a rematch she won. So she although she won the first fight, the rematch, Namajunas won. Yeah,
she's got a good pedigree, hasn't she? She's experienced.
Now I know she's for some reason the favorite in this matchup, but to me the Mackenzie.
Mm-hmm.
So she's also very strong. She has a kickboxing background and jiu-jitsu. Now, as long as I from what I could at least find out, I think she has a kickboxing background, and she fights like a kickboxer as well.
Yeah.
Although she does extend a little bit too much. When she throws like if you call it haymaker or like really strong straight punch, she really extends. And I thought, somebody with really good experience could play with that. But anyway, she never she never won by knockout. But that's because she prefers it that way. From all the fights I've seen, if she rocks somebody, she won't just jump and start, banging and throw haymakers. She'll immediately take them to the ground and submit it. It's just
More measured approach.
Preferable, yeah. She's more measured, but she's very strong. She's a good striker as well, but her ground game is next to none. Honestly, bar to none. Her ground game is unbelievable. You need to watch that. Honestly, she's fucking shocking on the ground.
Well, it seems like it's a decent matchup.
Yeah. But saying that,
it's better than what you first fought them, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
As I've looked into it.
Yeah.
It's a bit more intrigue behind it. One's lost the last 3. Others got
coming back from a pregnancy.
So I understand why UFC pushed them to the third fight instead of when they were in the beginning of the card. They were favored.
Yeah, I think they've been bumped up a little bit.
So I understand why they've done that.
There ain't a lot of depth. Always something to remember with women's divisions as well. There's not a lot of depth in them, is there?
No.
Yeah, because
they've done extraordinary women. No, it's not about that. There's not enough talent.
Yeah, it's building. It's coming. It's coming. But
you're
right. You're right. You know what I mean? It's not a bad
They're
thing.
not deep enough. The divisions, are they? Outside of top 10, is there many? But it'll get there. I'm not like throwing shit over it. Basically, it will get there.
But I do like
as time goes on.
I do like watching them because some of them are
I'm
really
not,
technical. Some of them are lack on power, but they're technical as fuck.
Watching fighters like Amanda Nunes and Ronda Rousey back in the day and stuff like that.
You're just literally naming my favourite ones.
Ronda
Rousey and Namajunas, 3 my favourite of all time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Valentina Shevchenko as well.
Shevchenko or Holly Holm,
I never liked her. I don't know what it was.
All of them.
I never liked her, man. She did trash talk, but I just didn't
Which
like
one,
her.
Shevchenko?
The Valentina, yeah.
I liked her.
She did trash talk, but I just didn't like her. I really like Namajunas.
Right.
And
obviously Alexa Grasso's coming up now, who's champion now, who's beat Valentina now twice.
It's getting better. I'm just saying it's not very deep. That's why when you look at a lot of these girls' records, a lot of them cross over with weights, don't they?
Yeah.
If you look maybe deeper than maybe 10, 15,
a lot of rematches, a lot of part 2s, part 3s and things like that.
It'll come on that.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Still fastest growing sport.
But
in the
you
world,
know,
isn't it? So more and more people getting into it. So
Mackenzie Dern, as good as she is, last loss, it really surprised me. And I actually watched the entire fight, and it went all 5 rounds. And this girl, I think she's Japanese, but don't quote me on that. And her name is Yan Xiaonan, I think. That's the correct way of pronouncing it.
I'm sure you absolutely hit the nail on the head there, Richard. I'm glad it's you that
I'm
attempted
sure
it instead of me,
somebody's
mate.
swearing at my, like, on, you know, into the whatever.
upside down, that Rich.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that was split decision, I think. But anyway, it went all the distance. But the thing is, the Mackenzie Dern, as strong as she is, and with as good jiu-jitsu, and she ragdolled that Shainan. Again, sorry if I'm mispronouncing, I'm sure I am. But
Shine now.
she managed,
That's
that's
capital
what it
C,
is.
isn't it?
Xiaonam. Shainan.
Zhaonan, I think.
Oh,
it's
Zhaonan or
Zhaonan
something
Yan.
like that, yeah.
Zhaonan Yan, I think is pronounced, but anyway.
I don't think my nan was shy.
She took her to the ground, honestly, numerous of times, and then she managed to survive every single time. Few times she put up a fight on the ground, on stand up. I think she was even better a little bit than Dern, and Dern is amazing at striking and she's powerful. And I think that Shannon, she was better. He fucking surprised me. I was like, okay. So now, at first, I thought Mackenzie she has this fight. I thought I'm with her, and now I'm like I'm not sure.
It's going to be.
Because I saw her vulnerable. That's all. I saw her vulnerabilities. I thought so. She's not invincible. She can actually lose.
Well, as far as it goes, for it looks like it's
more
going to
intriguing
be.
than your first
Yeah,
four, like,
definitely.
We all looked at
I'm
it
watching
first
that.
and thought,
100%. I'm watching
as
that.
you looked at it, it's a bit more intrigue
Yeah.
behind it. The more experienced girls.
Do you know what? When I looked into all of this, I'll be honest with you, I watched more of their fights than all the guys combined. I just started watching both of them fights because they were that intriguing. I was just surprised.
Well, that's it. Hopefully, it turns out to be a great matchup, and hopefully, what also turns out to be a great matchup is the next fight on the card, which is Benoit Saint-Denis, the God
Our
of War,
favourite.
coming out
Coming.
of Paris, France, against Matt Steamroller Favola. Oh, he's making his way. He's made his way into the top 15, and this looks like it's going to be another big barnstormer of a fight on this card. There's a few of them that are being served up, and this, like I say, this looks like another one. And I'm not sure who's going to win this. We saw Benoit Saint-Denis fight in Paris last time out, and it was impressive. He got fight of the night against Thiago Moses, round 2 TKO. It was his 4th win in a row. He's going up against Favola. How do we think that's going to go, Chris?
First of all, I'd like to start off by saying that it could be fight at night. This, you know, I've heard a few people say, "Keep an eye out for this one." You know,
yeah,
there's always one that bubbles underneath it.
Not so much star names.
You know, when there's a couple of like not so well known guys that's bubbling underneath top 2 or 3 on card, and it just explodes, and everyone's like, "Fuck!" You know, it gets you pumped and up for it, and your juices are flowing. I think it could be one of those.
Dana might be throwing them 50 grand bonuses out all fucking night, man. Really. So, I mean, because all of them look like fucking fight at night, mate. You know what I mean?
Throwing over here if you want, we'll get a little studio. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it. You know,
I think it's
Dana,
a great
get your hand in
matchup.
your pocket, man. It's going to be a good night.
Yeah, it's definitely a good matchup. I mean, Matt Favola, I think he's won his last 3 fights. He's 15-3. He's from a good camp. It's his home city. He's fighting out in New York, so I'm sure his family, friends, all his clan will be there.
Yep.
He comes from a brilliant gym. His main trainer is Ray Longo, who's always been Matt Serra and Chris Weinman, former welterweight and middleweight champion. So he's from a good stable of fighters. Home crowd behind him. I mean, imagine making your own. Imagine being from New York and find MSG. You're like, oh, Jesus.
Dreams are made of, isn't it?
Wow. It's fight,
really, isn't it?
You know,
Madison Square Garden, you stood there, you're up there. I know they're not exactly top of bill,
Yeah.
but you know, I mean,
And
they're on the main card at
Favola is
UFC.
11-3-1. So 11 wins, 3 losses, 1 whatever happened, God knows. I didn't see it.
no disqualification.
I tried to figure it out. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find any information on that.
Yeah, they're good fighters, man. They're good
fighting
fighters.
MSG, especially when you're from New York. Do you get bigger than that?
Not really. Not really. It's going
like
to
the
be.
messiah of bloody combat sport, isn't it?
That's it. I mean, these two guys, they're going to go at it, aren't they? Like the rest of them, it's going to kick it off. It's going to set it up nicely for the rest of the card. You know, it's going to be a good one to watch.
What do you think?
So what do you think about the St. Dennis? I really want to know what you think.
Well, I
Do you
think about going
do you know
Saturday.
why?
I think you might have to strap Matty down for that.
Because we seen him first time, about a month ago or 2 months ago, whenever he was fighting in France.
Mm-hmm.
And straight after that fight, when we were all excited, we said, "Who the fuck are these two?"
Yeah,
What an amazing fight, wasn't it?
It was.
As soon as we turned to boxing, within about 17 to 19 seconds, Matty was full out on sofa, struggling to keep away.
I'm not
You were like
surprised. Who were boxing? Anybody remember?
No, who gives
Who
a
was?
fuck?
I can't. Fuck me. Who were they?
Wasn't it
I
an
can't remember.
anticipated boxing match?
Yeah, it was.
And we're
Fuck
like,
me,
what?
what was it?
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, that's how
can't
good
remember
sport is.
That's
Yeah. So, what do you
Yeah, let's
think
move on
about
from-
Saint Dennis?
I like him.
What's
I
his
like
name,
him. Benoit Saint-Denis.
Benoit Saint Denis or something like that, isn't it? Saint Denis.
Rich calls
Saint
him-
Denis.
What do you think about Dennis?
You've got to have the French flair, man. It's Benoit Saint-Denis. You know, I mean, you add a bit of culture to yourself, boys. You know what I mean? No, it's going to be a big old fight. It's going to be a big old fight. I like Matt Frivola. I like Benoit Saint-Denis. I didn't know much about him until, like you say, Rich,
Few months ago.
the last
We all
time
same, yeah.
when we watched him at Paris. That's what these events are
I think
for.
it was
That's
only
why.
his second or third fight.
That's why
UFC.
UFC do these events, don't they? They move them all around the world and they showcase the top fighters from these countries. And, you know, anytime it's in London, it's packed with English fighters, British fighters. Anytime it's in, you know, Paris, it's packed with French fighters. I know they've just announced another one in Shanghai, which is good news. Which is good news. They're going to get them everywhere around. And they showcase these fighters, and that's where we learn about them, innit? And Benoit Saint-Denis, for me, it was a guy that stood out. It was a great fight. It's going to be a great fight on Saturday. It's going to tee up everything else that goes on. I'm looking forward to it. So, saying that, let's move on to some predictions. We will predict what we're going from top to the bottom. We will see what we think. There's some tough calls this week. There's some very tough calls. But we'll go round table. We'll see what everybody thinks. And inevitably, we'll probably all be made to look fools, but who knows? So we'll start off with Yuri Prochazka against Alex Pereira. Chris, what are we saying?
I'll be honest with you. I've got nothing written down for it.
I'm saying every single day I'm changing my mind.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Oh, do you know what? What would you? Who would you like?
Let's
at
start
least
with
to win?
Yuri and Pereira. Prochazka Pereira.
Yep, that's what I just said, man. What are you thinking? Make a decision. It's decision time, motherfucker. Let's go.
I think.
Yeah, the brain freeze a bit, didn't he?
I think. First of all, what a
Second brain
fight,
freeze.
50-50 fight. I think Pereira will catch him because I think Yuri gets hit too much. I don't think, with Yuri's style, it's brilliant to watch. It's entertaining. It's all action, hands down, feints, fucking hands flying all over, knees, you name it, on ground. He's well all rounder. But I think Pereira. I think if you leave your chin out there, I think you're gonna suffer. I do. I could be wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if I were wrong, but I would say. I'll say Pereira by finish.
You still don't fucking know, do you? Pereira by finish. Okay, mark that down, Richard.
I want fence by finish.
Right.
Richard, what do you
Okay.
reckon?
So
Yuri Prochazka, Alex Pereira.
Are you writing down? Make sure you write it down. So I can agree with everything what Chris said, but then again, the other side of it is who's to say that Prochazka not gonna adjust? Because this is the biggest fight of his career so far, right? By far, by a stretching mile. So who's to say he's not going to adjust to that? And he would be stupid not to. So I'm actually for him adjusting. I think he will adjust. I think he'll do something differently. We don't know what. Whether he'll try to do more ground game or
He's more all-rounded.
yeah. So that's
should
what
have
I'm
added
thinking. Oh, he gonna go a bit. Oh, sorry, go on.
Rich
Chris.
is right. Rich is right what he's saying. Yuri's more well-rounded.
Oh, definitely.
You don't forget Yuri finished Pereira's, Glover Teixeira.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
He submitted him. So
It's tough,
there's
man.
more
It's
about
tough.
Yuri,
It's
isn't
tough, but let's stop sitting on the fucking fence
Yeah.
and tell me who you
It
think's
is.
going to win, Rich. Who do you think's going to win? Let's stop taking a friend. Let's home. Bang,
Well,
bang,
he's
bang.
from
Who's
my
going
neck
to
of
win?
woods are close enough, so I'll go with Prochazka. I really will.
You're going with
As
Prochazka.
good as the
No
left hand he has. Oh, what way? Fuck.
Yeah, because I've gone for finish Pereira. Oh, Potan.
Potan, Hand of Stone.
Fuck, you got me there. I don't know.
You don't know? Never mind. You put it down for Yuri Prohachka.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. I think I am slightly leaning towards Yuri Prohachka as well. I'm not sure
I'll
why.
give you a fucking fist bump for that.
I'm not sure why, because it does change. It changes every single day. When the fight first got made, I was leaning towards Pereira. Then I was leaning towards Prohachka. I rewatched all 3 of his fights the other day, and I thought this guy is just a bad motherfucker.
He fucking is, isn't
He
he?
comes from
He's-
everywhere,
fuck me,
but
mate.
he leaves them hands down, and he gets hit. He has got a granite chin, and he's been hit by some big old people. But has he been hit by an hand as stone as Alex Pereira? I don't think he has yet. If Pereira lands, he could well knock him clean out.
Yep.
Absolutely, he could. But I don't know. Today, I'm going for Yuri Prohachka. Tomorrow, I might go for Alex Pereira. But
Do you think he's quick enough though to fucking land it on him? Do you think he's quick
yes, very much so. Yeah,
You're just going for the win match, or are you going for?
I'm going for decision. Yuri Prohachka decision. I think it's going to go. I think it's going to go distance.
That's different, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go
Surprised by
distance,
that.
and I'm going to
You
put
know
on
what,
Yuri
if you ask me
Prohachka
today,
for
I'll be
distance.
honest with you. I would say Yuri, even though you've asked me today, but I'm sticking with my original pick.
Right, I was saying,
Yeah.
well, I'm the same. It's been
Now
in,
I'm
and it's
thinking,
been out.
as
It's
I'm
been
thinking about it more and more today. I'm
So you're
thinking
thinking Yuri
Yuri's
Prohachka?
he's tougher. He's more
You
seasoned.
said Pereira before, didn't
more
you?
ways to win, but my initial thing were Yuri gets hit too much, Pereira's going to catch him, so I'll stick with that.
Listen,
So you
boys,
two
that's
boys,
why
yeah.
it's an absolutely incredible matchup in it, because even now we've discussed it all. We've discussed it over days.
Okay.
We've changed his mind. Nobody knows. We don't
Yeah.
know. That's why it's a great matchup, and that's off to UFC for that. Moving on to the replacement fight from John Jones and Stipe Miocic in Big Tom Aspinall, future Hall of Famer, future legend of the game, fighting out of Manchester, England, Tom Aspinall, with no bias whatsoever, against Mr. Sergei Pavlovich, the steam train himself. Who do you think is going to get that? Richard, I'll come to you first this time. Who do you think is going to win that, and when?
You can't start by saying, well, Tom Aspinall, the future Hall of Famer, and who do you think is going to win? You can't fucking start like that, can you?
He's from our neck of woods, man. We're big Tom
Fuck
fans.
me, mate.
He's our man.
Yeah,
Hey, your prediction might surprise me. My prediction might surprise you
the
in a minute.
worst thing is, as much as I would like to disagree, because again,
There's no wrongs and rights. It's about
Sergei's
about an
more from
opinion.
my neck of woods,
Yeah.
but I probably agree with you. I think Tom is, as much as everybody's seen him only in first round or second round, which I have as well only, but I genuinely believe he could last 5 rounds. I think he trains enough for that. He's not fucking stupid, and that's my point. He's very intelligent, and I just don't think he's gonna jump into first round and start brawling with him. I just don't see that happening, because that would be the dumb. Every single fighter does that, and I'm like, Derek Lewis did that, and I was like, what the fuck are you
Derek
doing,
Lewis,
mate?
though, has got hands of fucking stone as well.
I don't give
hasn't
a
he?
fuck, but why would you do that? They know once you do that, that's anyone's fucking game. And to me, you just don't do that with somebody like that, some of that caliber. You just don't do that, and I just don't think Tom will do that. I just as fast as he is,
What are you
and
saying there?
That's
I
what you're
think
saying.
Tom will win.
You think Tom will
I
win,
think
Chris?
he'll win by KO as well. I don't think he will even. Yeah, I think he'll be KO.
Fair enough, fair enough. Johnson, how's your boy going to do?
I've gone for Tom by finish. I'm not sure how.
Are you gonna have a wank
There's a
tonight?
chance he can TKO or he might submit him. I could be completely wrong. But what I would say is with these two, Pavlovich is an absolute wrecking machine. He's to have finished all them fights by first round knockout against. I'd argue he's had better competition than Tom as well. Slightly, it's close, but slightly.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's more of a killer instinct, with his how he carries himself in octagon. But I think Tom's a better mixed martial artist. He's better all round. He's more all rounded. He's got 2 or 3 ways to win, and he can play the fight 2 or 3 ways as well. I think Pavlovich is one dimensional.
Yeah, he's like all out round one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
he's
either
very
I'm gonna
strong.
run through you, or I'm done.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, and I think Alistair Overeem, he clinched with him, took him down, bashed him up on the floor, and I think Tom can finish it that way, even on striking Tom with his distance. If you look at Tom's feet, he's fast as fuck on his feet, in and out. He don't stand in pocket.
The
Or he
most
does-
impressive is the in and out. You just
Or he does. He's got caught a couple of times, but that's when he stands in pocket, and he won't be standing in pocket against him.
Yeah.
If he does, he's very foolish. Or he's maybe even fucking better than we think he is. And if he's better than we think he is, he's probably best MMA fighter of all time.
Well,
So yeah,
that's
anyway,
it.
we're rabbiting on. I think I'm going Tom by finish. I don't
Tom
know
by
whether he's
finish.
going to submit him or...
Round.
We're calling rounds as well, out of 5.
I'm intrigued to where Chris thinks he's going to
I'll
finish.
go round 2.
Round 2. I thought that's what you were going to say. I thought that's what you were going to say. And my
That's
prediction,
very-
personally, is not too much different, to be fair. I agree. I think Tom's all-round game is better, but he's fucking dangerous, is Pavlovich. When he kicks off like a runaway train. He steams through you, hopefully, and I think he will. Tom will have the guile about him to try and avoid that for a little bit, let him gas a little bit, and then show his better technique. Try and take him down, maybe round 2, like you say, get some kind of finish there. But I'm sure that's what every other fucking fighter that's fight Pavlovich has thought about doing as well.
Yeah.
And they ain't.
Blades were one of them, weren't they?
Yeah.
Blade, yeah.
And they haven't survived that onslaught.
What a fight.
As I said earlier, the one thing that worries me, I think Tom's a better fighter. The one thing that worries me is a short notice, and I do fear for him a little bit. So I'm going to go against Little Grain a little bit here, just to make things interesting. As much as I love Tom Aspinall, I love you, Tom. And I'm going to go say Pavlovich is going to steam through him.
But you don't believe in that, do you?
What, first round?
You don't
I'm
believe
not
you
saying I'm not saying I believe it, but that's what I'm saying.
First
Yeah.
round?
Round 1, Sergei Pavlovich.
Wow.
And I'm basing that
Horrible
mostly.
man.
Am I actually... Do you know
you
what?
won't like it. I know you won't like it, but
For
That's
last
not
fight...
right, Monk, and you can...
Matt, listen to that.
I've got to walk home. I've got to fucking walk home.
It's his car, but he's still walking now. We can
One thing about debunk is... I'm going to debunk you by accident because I have a question for him for the last 5 minutes and I was waiting until we finish. Not trying to not interrupt again for 67th time.
Crack on then.
Chris, that's to you, just directly to you this question. So, do you know what you said about Pavlovich, yeah? About him having slightly better fighters than Tom, right?
Yeah.
Which he did, yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah, slightly.
It's not like,
yeah.
wow, he's fought, but mate,
And
why?
he beat them all usually within first round and
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you're the biggest advocate on that, I know. When you say styles make fights. Don't you think every single fight they ever had, it just stylistically they suited him? Because every single fighter, the Pavlovich, every single fighter he fought, it seemed like they just were willing to stay in pocket and brawl with him.
Yeah, like Tai Tuivasa and things like that.
Yeah, every single one, and I could never
know.
understand why they were doing that. So maybe that's why, if somebody would stay out of pocket, and that would change things, wouldn't it?
He's good at you know what though? They're staying out of pocket, but Pavlovich is good at pushing fight. If you watch him, he moves forward and cuts octagon off quite well. So when somebody backs up or tries to get out of the way, he makes angles and he cuts the octagon off, and he's really good at that. So he's more than just a fucking big slugger with power and all that. He's got a bit of he's got a good IQ about him.
Yeah,
I
he just don't have to show much
an
more.
all-round martial artist, Tom's on a different level. He can finish you from. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt, BJJ black belt. He's fast. He's elusive. He's been training in Holland with elite kickboxers. You know what I mean. He's a different level, and he's so. I don't know. Maybe I'm definitely one of his biggest fans. He's just a nice kid, isn't he?
Yeah. Do you know his last fight? Sorry to interrupt. His last fight, after fight, when the Joe Rogan was interviewing him, he won against what was that? We just spoke
Marcin
about.
Tybura.
Yeah.
Marcin Tybura, yeah. They were good friends.
Yeah,
Well,
and he
friends.
says, and my Russian became so rusty. It used to be so good. Anyway,
Mine
but he
too.
said in Russian, to his translator, because the translator was standing next to him. He goes, спрашивай этого его, ask him that. And he's like, what he was asking was, he goes, что ты думаешь про мое boxing? What do you think about my boxing? No, that to Joe Rogan, yeah. He asked it, he goes, what do you think about my boxing? Because he boxed the shit out of him, didn't he? Or literally like pure boxing, bam, 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 poof, down.
Yeah. They say Pavlovich is explosive, but Tom Aspinall's equally explosive. It's crazy. I'm basing my prediction. I hope I'm wrong, by the way. I hope Tom runs through him and he takes it, because I'm also a big fan, not quite as big a fan as Chris, who wants to get on his knees in front of him. But I hope
He
I'm
will
wrong,
go down
but
on
I
his knees as
just
well.
think the short notice it might favour Pavlovich a little bit because I've been incredibly impressed by him in his last few fights. He's just a mental case that just goes in, gets the job done, wipes them out. I hope I'm wrong.
I won't be
We shall
surprised.
see. We shall see.
Whatever happens, this is
I
why
won't be as well.
UFC is booming.
It is.
You would not be surprised, whatever happens with both these fights I've just mentioned. What I would say about the heavyweights is it should be for undisputed heavyweight belt.
Yeah, we touched on it. Yeah, we touched on it a bit earlier. Yeah, I
could
think
change that as well.
I agree.
What
I
do you
agree.
mean? Sorry, so I explain on that.
Like I
Elaborate on
said
that. a
earlier,
bit.
that John Jones and Stipe are going to be out for 8 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Rather than being
Yeah.
for interim, if that belt should have been vacated, and this fight should have been for that
Yeah,
belt.
I do think that, and I also think that this is the two best heavyweights in UFC.
At the moment, or in
I
last
would,
few
I would
years, to be
strongly
honest.
say that these are both in the prime, both brilliant records, both lost once in UFC.
They've both beat
Right
all guys
age,
that are around
the
them.
killers. They've both got the shortest octagon time. And let's be honest,
Look at what Pavlovich did to Derek Lewis, and Derek Lewis was a weapon. Look what he did to him.
I tell you, we'll have their eyes shut after this fight though. Is Cyril Gane
Cyril Gane.
after he's turned fights down against.
As nice as kid he is, I just
I
never
think
thought he was
both
a
of
world
these,
class.
both of these, he's a good stand-up guy. Both of these, I would think, could demolish him.
I have to agree. I have to
That's
agree.
why I say he's not world class, and I repeat that probably several times now, and even on podcasts, I just don't think he is.
I like him though. He's a nice guy.
That's the problem. He's a really likable kid, and he's
If you stand in front of him though and try fight
he'd
him,
fuck you up,
know
yeah.
what?
I reckon I could take him, but anyway, that's a different conversation altogether. Let's move on to Jessica Andrade and Mackenzie Dern. What do we think is going to happen in that fight? Let's gloss over these guys before we get onto a bit of MMA news. What do we think is going to happen there, Richard?
Well, you know what I think. I already said. I
Check us
think
out.
Dern is gonna take her. As strong as Andrade is, I think Dern has all the same weapons, just turned to 11 against her. Her weapons are 8 at best, and Dern's weapons are same. Is just apart from strength. I'm not sure whether the strength is there because I haven't seen them, standing against each other, so it's hard to judge that. But the skill-wise, the striking, I think the Dern's striking is better, but the jiu-jitsu, fuck me. It's
Yeah.
just, so
Well,
I think she's going to win.
I think the same.
I think she's going to submit as well.
I think same.
Oh,
I'm
so
going to go for Mackenzie Dern
Yeah,
because
submission.
I'm going to go for Mackenzie Dern because it's Andrade's 5th fight this year. She's lost the last 3.
Oh, that's a good
As I
point
say,
as well.
it's
Sorry, I
gonna-
forgot about
What
that.
are you
Yeah.
going for, Matty? Sorry.
I'm going for Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
going
going
to go
for
for to win on a decision. I say Andrade's she's been very active this
You
year.
won't be
She's lost the
decision,
last
it'll be
3.
fucking submission.
Mackenzie Dern's been
I'll
up.
be honest with you, that's the first one I wrote down were Dern, double D, Dern decision.
Double D Dern.
Yeah.
I'm sure that would have nickname in school. That's
She'll submit her. She'll submit her.
Okay, right. The last one. Let's go. Matt Frivola, Benoit Saint-Denis. Let's just rattle off. I just want a name from each here. We'll carry on, and then we'll move on to the next part of this podcast. Chris, who's going to win that fight?
I am going for Frevola.
Steamroller Frivola
Yeah.
from Mr. Johnson. Richard.
Saint-Denis,
Benoit Saint-Denis.
all day long.
Benoit Saint-Denis. I'm going
He's
for
my
Benoit
favourite
Saint-Denis.
up-and-comer all day long.
Mostly because I like saying his name. But yeah, we shall go for that one and that one. Right, let's move on to a bit of news that's broke this week.
Just put win.
We're going to move on. We'll talk about a few things that's broke in the last week or so. We want to bring up the fact that Ian Gary has been barred from Leon Edwards' gym at Team Renegade in Birmingham. He's been training out of there. He's been training out of there for the last few weeks or so. He was enjoying training out of there. He was getting some things out of it. He was looking to improve his game. He calls it the best gym in UK. That's what is there. But apparently, Leon Edwards didn't like it because they may be a matchup in the next 12 to 18 months. He turned up for training one day and they said, "You're not allowed to come in, mate." All seems a bit weird, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Is Leon shaking his boots of the rise of Ian Machado Gary? What do you reckon, Chris?
I think it's comical, do you?
It's men.
Usually there's a good saying knife sharpen knives, don't there? Usually you want other top guys to be in with you
Exactly.
so you can improve your skills, get better in certain attributes that maybe you need to improve in. Also, you get a bit of bonding, you know what I mean? You get a bit of a thing going on.
And I agree. I think Gary's, like I said, 12, 18 months out from a championship fight.
He's
against
always got
them.
it top 10, hasn't
Yeah, that's it.
he? Is he 11th?
I think he dropped. I think after his last win against Jeff Neal, he did break
against
into
Luque,
top 10.
so that is
It's Luque's fight.
Yeah,
Next,
he's only just
in
broke
December.
into top 10.
Yeah, so I think it's at least 18 months or so
Yes.
until he gets a championship fight. So maybe banish him from gym a year from now, but it seems a bit early.
I'll tell you what, though, like I said to you before, I've seen a bit of Gary. I think he was training with Shavkat in, I'm not sure if it was Florida or over in America, and he was holding his bloody own, I tell you that.
He looks good, he's been impressive.
So it makes you, are they all a bit worried about him, maybe?
He has been impressive. I was disappointed he didn't finish off Jeff Neal in his last fight. I mean, he seemed to be toying for
He's
a
like
while.
old
Jeff
Teague,
Neal,
though, Jeff Neal, isn't he? He's bloody...
yeah, he's made a tough stuff, like, but he wasn't in that fight for a fucking minute. He were playing with him, Gary. Really, he was trying to finish him, but he didn't get there in the end. But you know, it all just seems a bit harsh and a bit petty, like, really, don't it, about this barring him from gym and stuff like that.
What that tells me, right? That's just my idea, because all what the first I've heard of when Matthew told me, I haven't heard this, I haven't read about this at all. But to me, all what that says, from all what I completely, by the way, 100% agree with both of you what you just said. All what that says to me is they are intimidated by him. And they want to hide the next, 1 year of skills improvements fucking things from him, because they think, you know what, if we're going to carry on sparring with him, he's just going to kick the shit out of us.
In 12
So
months,
let's
he's gonna have a bit of
fucking
insight.
hide that from him by kicking him out of the ring. That's what there is. That's what that says. And to him, maybe at first he felt like, oh, fuck, he was a bit down probably. But after an hour or two, when he come down and come to his senses, thought, hold on. They scared of me, these fuckers.
Yeah.
I have them in my pocket.
Well,
they
I'll
fucking
tell you
scared
what's
of me.
interesting for me is you won't just turn up at somebody's gym without kind of making a few phone calls, bit of interaction first.
So
You won't just knock on
definitely there was
somebody's
a
door,
phone call, mate.
then walk in. So somebody's kind of invited him or agreed for him to go down. So something's happened, and I actually think it's not about his skill set. It's more to do with his personality.
You reckon?
I think he's a bit of a brash.
He is. He's a
Irish
very ballsy guy,
fucking
like,
ballsy, outlandish. You know what I mean?
But they all like that. What about Strickland?
Yeah, I think it's probably more leaning towards that about maybe his mouth.
Leon's kind of opposite as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a weird situation, really, isn't it? But I think for me, it's more like 80% that rather than his skill set. Because if you're number one and you're champion, you just beat Usman twice, who's one of the best welterweights of all time. You're not that worried about somebody just moved into the top 10, are you?
No,
you shouldn't be.
The only way it would be if you think he's very, very good.
Well, he's good, but also there's a bit of baggage with him, I think.
Yeah,
if you're gymming up for that, because I think in Birmingham, I can't remember what gym's called.
Chris, I can't agree with that.
Renegade,
yeah.
But how many of Chris?
And that
I
come
don't
from
know. I'm
Edwards,
not
by the way,
sure.
as well. That come from his coach.
Yeah, his coach.
Maybe his coach has seen him and thought, fucking hell.
Yeah, maybe it's him protecting his fighter.
I
Who
think
knows?
It's more to do with maybe a bit lack of trust.
He said something about he's not adding any culture to the gym, is what they came out with, which is a bit vague, isn't it?
That's saying that his personality. That's what they're really saying. But to me, that could be an excuse, because although I really want to agree with you, but on the other hand, to me, 9 out of 10 of these fighters are batshit crazy, because you have to be. Look what you're doing. They're all fucking crazy, and they like to test each other, and they will bite to each other a little bit, and then their competition thing. They know even when they're sparring, even when they they don't go to 100% anymore, but they go to 80 or 70 or 60%.
Yeah.
They're still fucking testing each other non-stop. So I'm not sure unless he's complete batshit crazy when he comes and says wild shit, but then Strickland does that, and then he's all right. So I'm not fucking sure what the fuck are they on about.
I like him when they're a bit mental, a little bit this to entertainers. Anyway, they have also announced this week the final lineup for UFC Fight Night in Austin, Texas, which is quite a good card. We're just going to gloss over who is fighting. We'll get more into detail when that card's coming up, if we do a pod on that. But for a card that's got Beneil Dariush against Arman Tsarukyan, co-main is Dan Hooker against Bobby Green, the on-fire Bobby Green at the moment, who is ascending quite rapidly. It's took him a while to get there, but he is doing it, and Dan Hooker is always an entertaining fight. Next up is Rob Font against Davison Figueiredo, who stepped up from that 5'8" division. He's stepping up to fight on Rob Font. Also a great fight. Sean Brady against Kevin Gastelum. I mean, they keep coming, don't they? They keep coming. That's a great card as well, just for a fight night in Austin. I mean, there's 4 good fights there, isn't there?
I like the Bobby Green one.
Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, that's one that stands out for me as well.
Stands out to me for Fireworks, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fireworks. But he's looked impressive in his last few, hasn't he? As Bobby Green. He's
He's beat Grant Dawson and Tony Ferguson last off.
that Grant Dawson fight. He was underdog in there, and he took him out. He took him out in about a minute, didn't he, or something like that. And
I didn't see none of it. What about how was he against Ferguson?
he beat Tony Ferguson, a couple of fights ago.
He choked him,
He
finished him.
Okay.
I mean, I know Tony's been spiraling a little bit, but
It's still an amazing fight, isn't
I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
though,
he's-
if you look at his last fights before that, Jared Gordon, he's up there and he's reputable.
yeah.
Drew Dober,
Drew Dober.
and before that, Islam Makachev. So he's had some competition.
He
hasn't
has,
he?
he is.
Really enough.
And
He's
Dan-
37 as well, so he's knocking on. And I tell you what, to have them, his last 5, he's lost 2, drawn 1, or disqualified, whatever it was, and then he's won last 2.
He's been threatening to bet these top 10 for a few years, hasn't he? And
he's
he's sort of looks like he'd reached his ceiling and he wasn't going to
But
get
you
in
have
there. But he's
37.
upped his
More of an
What the fuck are
Indian
you doing
summer
at
type thing.
37?
he's upped his game. He's upped his
He's
game in
37
twilight of
though,
his
isn't he?
career.
What are you doing at 37 knocking on these?
I know what
He's
it
just
was.
out here looking like Kanye West, man. That's all he's doing.
I think he won at boxing at weekend.
That's it.
I think he won at fucking refs, to be fair.
But I
I
like
won
him.
at judges.
I like the old water spitting out thing. Just looking like a dragon. when
Who
he
was
went in.
judging boxing again? Was it Kanye West, Eminem, and who?
Yeah, it fucking must have been. Fuck me,
Lennox
mate.
Lewis. Fucking
No,
Vanilla
I
Ice,
think
I
it was Ashanti or somebody.
Shanty.
Yeah, fucking hell, mate. She must have been.
Yeah,
Jesus
6'9"
Christ.
grappler and an A fighter. Won, didn't it, white lad?
Yeah. Do you know what I like? Do you know what? I'm sorry, we digress. We come back a bit of that fucking boxing, but do you know who said that? He wore gold, but the Fight Disciples, what they said. They said, you know, if somebody would have kept in space for fucking years or whatever somewhere, and then dropped back down to earth into that fight, and then said, "What's going on?" and somebody would have said, "Well, one is one of the best of all time heavyweight, and fighting." Newcomer, basically, right? Somebody who come from MMA.
Who's
And
who?
he goes, that person would have pointed to Ngannou immediately. Oh, so that's a
I
world
agree.
champion. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, that's it. Would have. No, I mean we've covered it already, but yeah, that was a great fight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's move on. Right, we're gonna wrap it up like we said we're gonna do with a matchup we would like to see in the near future that could possibly be made. We've gone for a strange one, maybe one that makes sense. We
We all
about it a
agreed,
bit,
didn't we?
but it's the weight classes that make it a bit different. But we've gone for Kamaru Usman against Conor McGregor. If McGregor makes a comeback, when he makes a comeback next year, April, which is another thing that's dropped this week, he's sort of said that it looks like April that he's going to be coming back.
300, is that?
About the time for UFC 300, whether it will be UFC 300, I don't know. We thought it would be great for him to fight Kamaru Usman. We know Usman's just recently stepped up to middleweight. Connor's fought down in lightweight before, but it's looking like a bit of a beefcake at minute. Don't look like he'll be coming back at lightweight. Could they meet at a catchweight or somewhere a welter? We don't know, but we think that would be an interesting fight. Conor McGregor against Kamaru Usman. A lot of people thought Usman were a bit spent, but he proved it a bit wrong a few weeks ago against Hamzat.
Exactly 2 weeks ago.
You probably won that, really, didn't you? If you look, if you
There's definitely argument. There's definitely argument for
People are
it.
disagreeing with me, so I don't fucking know.
There's an argument for it.
There's an
But
argument,
how do we think Conor McGregor against
Even
Kamaru Usman
Bisping
would
thought
go?
he won.
I think that'd be a perfect matchup. They're both in like latter years of their career. One's got fuck knees. One's been out for 2 or 3 years.
Pissed up.
Yeah, he's enjoying himself. He'd probably struggle to make. He's not making lightweight again, is he?
I wouldn't have
I
thought
think,
so.
I think it's a
Have
really
you
good.
seen
I
the
think
size of him? No
more than
fucking way.
likely, it'd stay on its feet as well. So I think it'd be an entertaining fight.
I don't know. That's why I selected him. And I think the standard they'd go up. I think both of them would fancy victory. It'd be interesting, man. Whether it gets made, I don't know, but it would be interesting, definitely.
I'd pay to watch that for sure.
Yeah, man. What do you think, Rich? Who do you think could win in Conor McGregor and Kamaru Usman?
Well, I'll repeat myself what I said to you off camera already. When he.
Whoa, which bit?
Whoa.
When, do you know? I didn't tell you
Zip
that.
it up.
Do you know when he texted that in the morning? You zip it up, you. Do you know? Yeah, you make sure you look after Aspinall first, yeah, before you say anything. Yeah?
No, not full of big Tom. I had his hoodie on earlier. It didn't fit me. It went on my back.
Yeah. Anyway, so when you texted this in morning as an idea, threw in as an idea in on WhatsApp, and I was thinking, what the fuck were you smoking? What's this? Yeah. And then
Thank you.
yeah, well, I did. I told you that as well. I was honest, and but then that's what I didn't reply, and I kept thinking, and I thought, hold on. So, like you said, they're both strikers, incredible strikers. Usman is good on ground, doesn't like to go on ground. Now, McGregor has jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't like to go there. They would just stand up and fucking brawl, wouldn't they?
I think it's two kind of legends at sport.
I think it would be a right fight.
I think it'd be
What the fuck? What a fight that
really
would be.
good, really close, good matchup.
I do. I certainly do as well. I'm not sure who would win it, but I think it would be a good one. So down to White. And your little matchmaking,
I really would.
Your little matchmaking thing. Take note of my ideas. I've got some good ones. If you've got a job going, I'm happy to accept any kind of role that you've got to give
If you
me.
want to contribute towards the fund,
That's it. That's it.
If you want to support us, Dana, you know.
Speaking of supporting us, download our podcast, listen to our podcast. It is available on Spotify. It is available on Apple Podcasts. It is available wherever you need to get it. We're all over Instagram, Facebook. Thank you once again for listening to us go on a little bit about this upcoming UFC weekend in 295, but it is going to be an absolute barnstormer of heavy hitters, heavy hits, heavy slams. It's going to be great. We can't wait for it. I'm sure you can't wait for it too. So thank you again for listening. So from me, good night.
thank you guys. Don't forget to like,
well.
subscribe, share, do what you want.
Watch us on YouTube since this is our first video as well, please.
If you'd like to add any, give us any tips, comments, any, do what you want.
Feedback.
Give us,
Do what you want,
give us
yeah.
something.
That's a
We'll
good
appreciate
point. Do
any
what you want,
feedback
yeah.
you've got. Yes, thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. See you. Bye-bye.